got that same light.
Yeah?
Yeah. Random. So that's Randy's.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Mike Anderson here with Living Motion Monograms and the 1% Solution. And I think we are live right now. I'm not sure. So if you're watching, hit one in the chat to let me know that you're watching there, so that I know. So yeah, funny story. We're about to go live earlier and realize that our internet provider, I'll go ahead and say, Comcast was in the front yard digging everything up. Apparently they're laying down fiber cable, which is awesome, because then it's going to be really great upload speeds for this kind of stuff. But it put a little cramp into things when it came to wanting to live stream with you guys. So it made things a little more difficult because, well, we had no internet at that time. So again, if you guys can hear me and everything seems normal, go ahead and hit number one, hit a 1 in the chat or something, or make sure you guys introduce yourself, say hi in the chat. That way I know that you guys can hear, because we kind of rushed over here and got everything set up as quickly as possible when it came to let's see here, when it came to actually getting everything set up. So today's story, the reason I want to get online with you guys is because every day I get questions about, hey Mike, what do you think about this projector? Can I use this for this? Can I use, and a lot of people are just confused. And I think it's just simply because most of it has to do with kind of hearing myself in this thing. So the main focus around it is, I just don't think people understand, a lot of what the specs mean. And it's just, and believe me, it's nothing to be ashamed of. We're going to get you there. We're going to go over some of the information. We'll have a good time doing it. And most importantly, we're going to educate you so that you can make that right decision on what projector is going to work for you and what application you are going to be using it for. So to kind of get started, I'm going to go over some of the little basics with you guys here. And let's see here. I'm going to show you guys a little quick little outline that we've got for you. Let's see if we can bring this up. And basically, it's just going to go over some of what all this terminology means when it comes to, projectors. It can be a little difficult when you crack open those spec sheets, and it's 4 pages long, and you really just don't know where to start. Well, I'm going to get you guys that starting point. So to get started here, bring this up here for you guys. Let's go over some of our basics here. So this is going to be a printout that I made that just has kind of explanation of what these different items mean. To get things started, I basically, one of the things that I did is I took all those little specifications that are listed on projectors, if we go online and take a look, and I kind of want to just talk to you guys about probably some of the most important ones to look at, because there's a lot of them, and if we concentrate on the most important parts, or at least the specs, the most important specs on the projectors, you guys can kind of get a little bit farther. So first things here is native resolution. Now, native resolution basically is the number of pixels that a projector or TV, in case if you're shopping for TVs, can actually reproduce. So you're going to see, if you look up this number, this is what the actual pixel count, this is as far as the resolution that it can produce on the wall. We'll get into what a different number a little bit later that's going to explain like what it can accept, because we all know like HD is 1920 by 1080, and so that's basically what DVD quality is. I'm sorry, actually that's what Blu-ray quality is. So 1920 by 1080 is one of the best you can go with right now with projection until you get into the 4K systems, which are probably a little bit out of our reach right now, and not widely used. So brightness and lumens, you'll hear that terminology, lumens with a projector. And basically this is just, a measurement of how bright that how bright the projector can produce, whites and the different colors. Now keep in mind that different projectors are going to have different, qualities of how they can reproduce colors. So usually the brightness and with the lumens themselves, with a single chip DLP projector, you're going to see that the whites are going to be much, much brighter than the reds, blues, and greens. With this, the projectors that can reproduce or have 3 DLP chips, one of the things you'll notice is that what they're doing is they're actually separating the 3 colors. And so that's why a lot of those will say that their projectors are 3 times brighter than a single DLP projector. It just basically means that those colors are going to be a little bit more vibrant. I don't know about 3 times as bright, but they will definitely be a lot more vibrant when it comes to projecting colors. Contrast ratio. So the easy way to explain this, contrast ratio is just the difference between the brightest white and the darkest black that the projector can reproduce. So if you've got a really bright projector, you kind of need more contrast ratio in order to kind of counteract that gray box effect that sometimes we see with projection. And that's where, and everybody can see the gray box effect. All you have to do, take your projector, doesn't matter which one you have, even the best ones, go into a room, turn off all the lights, put the projector close to the wall, and that's where you're going to see that gray box effect. I get emails every week where people are they're just freaking out because they're like, how do I get rid of this gray box? How do I get rid of this gray box? And I'm like, okay, do me a favor. Tell me exactly the situation that you're in right now. Well, I go, let me guess. You're at your house, aren't you? Yeah, I'm at my house. Okay. I'm guessing the projector's about 6 feet away from the wall. Yeah. Okay. And you have all the lights off? Well, yeah. You're never going to be in that situation at an event. It's just there's always going to be some ambient light there. You're going to be projecting from probably quite a bit farther back. I mean, most of the time we're not that close when we're projecting larger images. So distance kind of takes away that effect, but also just ambient light kind of takes away from that as well. It also depends on what surface you're projecting onto. So take that time and look over that, and just usually if you're even on the higher lumens, 5,000, 5,500, if you have anything over 8,000 to 1 contrast ratio, you're doing pretty good. You're doing pretty good there. So no worries on that. Throw ratio. So this is an important number because one of the things that you want to consider is, what are you using the projector for? A lot of people are going to be using this to, if you're using it to project monograms, or if you want to project a backdrop, or if you want to, project movies for, on the weekends for outdoor movie night on a giant 30-foot screen, one of those blow-up screens or something. They all have different uses, and so the throw ratio is going to let you know either how far back you're going to have to be to make that larger image, or what's the closest that you're able to project from. If you're going to be if you want to do rear projection, then like ultra short throw projectors are going to be really, really useful. And the catch to that is that they're good for those like rear projection or front projection from a very close distance, but they kind of become a little bit more useless if you can't get your projector within about, half a foot to 2 feet away from the wall. So anything more than that, then the image itself starts to kind of go out of focus. We also have keystone correction. Basically, the easiest way to explain this is, if you take a flashlight, shine it on the wall, you're going to get a round circle, correct? So, and then as you move that flashlight to the left or to the right, it starts to become kind of an oval or oblong shape. And what Keystone does is it actually allows you to bring that image back to a circle. And pretty much all projectors are going to have vertical keystoning, where if you have to project up at an angle onto a screen or down onto like a floor, then it'll allow you to kick the bottom out or kick the top out in order to correct what looks like a V on the, you know, with the image itself. And a lot of projectors these days are even coming up with 4-corner keystone, which allows you to adapt to almost any situation. So that gives you horizontal keystone as well. So if I'm going projecting to the left and up, I can actually correct it, make it look perfect. And if you don't want the projector directly in front of the screen and you want it off to the side, this is going to be a very, very useful tool. We also have maximum resolution. So this is that second measurement that I think confuses people more than anything. And with that, what happens is you have, maximum resolution is basically it's the maximum resolution that the projector can accept into the hardware itself on the projector. So it's what it can recognize. But still, even if, for example, the maximum resolution is 1920 by 1080, and we go back up here and we look up what the native resolution may only be like 1200 by 800. And so it still gives us, an accurate look at, what it can accept in. So if we are sending in an HD signal, it is going to convert it, but still with the native resolution itself, that's the number of the actual pixels the projector can reproduce. So it can only go up to that number. And that's why that native resolution number is so important. All right. So we're going to go, oops. Let me take this down here for you guys. And I'm going to show you guys something else here. We're going to go ahead and kind of go over a couple basics here. So this may sound a little funny, but here's the main thing. Truth be told, when you are shopping for projectors, it can get a little bit more difficult because, keep in mind, the general rule is just, if you can't pronounce it, don't buy it. These are usually the off-brand, and the reason why I say at least be cautious about purchasing these, because they don't tend to have the most accurate numbers. I've seen a ton of projectors online who tout 5,000 lumens, and it's a $250 projector. I would be shocked. But and the way you can tell with these is just simply look at the reviews. That's the number one tip I'm going to give anybody. Look at the reviews, see what they're saying, because usually you look at those, you're going to see a lot of people explaining, hey, we it works for what we're using it for and everything, but it's not nearly as bright as I thought it would be. Now, if you start to see that on every post, then you kind of get an idea that might have been one of the numbers that they stretched a little bit. Also, it's just if it's not one of the mainstream ones, then you could have a little bit more issues with the. Let me bring this up here. Oops. You could have a little bit more issues with like finding bulbs and stuff for them as well. So take your time, find, look at the reviews, see what's going to really pop out for you with that aspect. Now, we've got kind of a few different classes of projectors that I also want to go over. What most people really kind of see is the regular throw projectors. So now if we take a look at this is going to show us, here we are. All right. So this shows us a couple little things. It's going to say, if you look at our different projectors we have here, and I'm going to try and jump out of the way of this, or at least we'll make it to where you guys can see everything here. There we are. So this is kind of comparing the three different projectors. And what I did is I just took, three different Optima projectors to give you guys an idea. And this is something that you can do with the ones that you're considering as well. The first one, kind of a normal throw projector. This is the Optima EH515. This is the one I currently use. We have a throw distance of 4.2 feet by 26.4 feet. So 4.2 is the shortest, is the least amount of distance that you can project with this projector without it being probably more or less out of focus. And then as of the specs, the best image that it can do from the farthest distances would be 26 feet, right about there. But you can also look at the image size, where it's 2.23 feet by or up to 25 feet in image size itself. So I mean, that's a very, very large screen if you've got the distance to be able to create that. But then you have those, the throw ratio here, and basically the throw ratio is 1.2 to 1 or up to 2.16 to 1. And this has to do with how the optics are on the projector itself. So if you've got for example, the shortest throw that it can do is going to be, it can create an image, 1 foot image at 1.2 feet. Pardon me, I'm backwards on that. So it can create an image kind of 1.2 feet at 1 foot distance. Now, it's not going to be in focus there, but it's just giving you that guideline from 1 foot range. If we did so from 10 feet, basically, we could just add a 0 onto all this. We'd have a 12 foot image from 10 feet. Or using just the optical zoom on the projector, what we could do is from 10 feet, we could have a 21 foot image. And so it's a very, very large image on the wall from still not a very big distance. 10 feet's not bad. And then, of course, lumens 5500. Next, we've got our short throw projector class. Now, these are going to be really good for doing movie screens, maybe home theaters. You're going to notice one thing down below, and it says the lumens themselves are typically a lot lower. Don't panic. You're going to notice that a lot of those, a lot of the short throw projectors themselves are going to have a lot less lumens, just because we're not throwing from as much of a distance. We don't need as much kind of horsepower or power to get the image all the way over to the projector screen or wall. And so that number isn't as important, I don't think. But look up here at throw distance. Notice how much of a difference this is. 2.2 feet to 5.5 feet. That's how far away from the surface. That's the range where you want this projector to be in the sweet spot. That's a big difference between 4.2 to 26.4 that we see with the 515. And what this means is we have a much narrower space for this projector to be effective. And that's why I think that the short throw projectors are much better for kind of that theater atmosphere where we have a very short distance in order to get a larger image on the wall. And you can see image size here. That also changes pretty drastically. It can do as little as a 4.9 foot image from the shortest distance it can go to be in focus, at least, and up to a 12.7 foot image. After that, the image itself starts to become out of focus if you start to back it up any more than that 5.5 feet. And you can see the throw ratio is 0.5 to 1. So for every foot of distance that you have from the wall, it's going to create 2 feet, a 2 foot image. So 5 feet, we're going to have a 10 foot image, and that shows 5.5 feet here gives us that 12.7 foot image. And then our ultra short throw projectors, these are insane, but it also kind of limits us even more. These, I mean, look at these numbers. Throw distance 1.5 feet to 1.8 feet. we've got about 6 inches of leeway here. So you gotta be pretty accurate, and this is going to be mainly used for, you're going to see these in schools and in offices where the projector, is going to be just right over the head of, the screen itself. And it can do a 2.2 foot image to an 8.35 foot image. It's pretty incredible that from 1.8 feet away, that short of a distance, it can do an 8 foot image a little bit better than that. But the throw ratio is 0.25 to 1. Again, 4 feet, from, I guess, well, we can't go from 4 feet. But from, if we could imagine from 2 feet itself, we're getting an 8 foot image. That's just incredible, and it's brighter. The ultra short throw projector is brighter. That image is going to be used. That's going to be something you can use in probably daytime conditions. That's what it's designed for, classrooms and stuff where we have a lot of fluorescent or ambient lights coming in. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to jump in on the chat, and I'm going to go through and we're going to answer those as well. If you're looking at particular projectors and stuff and you want an opinion on it, we can get that taken care of for you as well. All right, we're going to take this down for you guys. Let's see here. Also, I want to show you guys, things to consider as far as options. There's a lot of options out there with projectors, and I think that there's some that we've gone over. Like last week, we talked about some of the newer options, which would be the like the Asus stick or the Mika media players that are out there. Those kind of let you adapt even older projectors into having just a media player on board without having to have some projectors have what's called PC-less presentation, and that's where you can take kind of any image you want or stack a bunch of images onto a memory stick, plug it directly into the back of the projector, and be able to play those images just on the projector. No other computer is going to be necessary. And even a lot of them will even do some PowerPoint presentations as well. Now keep in mind, like I said, there's a lot of BenQ projectors have that capability. They also have like the 4-corner keystoning. You're going to see that a lot of the resolutions on like BenQs are going to be probably not 1920 by 1080, but more towards the 1200 by 780. Just as far as with the entry level ones, I do notice that, especially with DJs and entertainment companies, they're all kind of looking for something under $1,000. We definitely have a lot of choices out there these days that are under that price range, or even less. Now, if you're planning on getting a projector for your kids' room, for gaming, stuff like that, you definitely don't have to spend $1,000 on that. If you're using it for a professional use, if you're a videographer and wanting to project video images, especially if you're a videographer, don't you think you want to have something that's going to reproduce the best quality image? Because if it's your work that's being projected onto that wall, doesn't matter how good your work is, if the kink in the chain is the low quality projector, guess what? The work is gonna look low quality. And that's the same thing with what DJs do. If we're using these for monograms or showing video and stuff, we spend all this time to make some incredible looking images or designs, and then we put it into one of the lowest quality projectors we can find because it was cheap, and that's where that drawback's going to come into play, where you got to be careful and dance that fine line. You're the only one that's going to know what's going to be right for you and the service you provide. I'm not here to make that decision for you, but I do want to give you that guidance, so at least it's just a little bit of food for thought. So when it comes to, let's take a look here. So we've got this PC-less presentation we talked about a little bit. We also have if your projector doesn't have PC-less presentation, then again, you have the option of jumping in to, it's like a Mica media player, just to plug in with the HDMI on the back of the projector. You definitely want to also look at, is there optical or digital zoom? And the difference is that if you've played with any projector before, the optical zoom itself is just that kind of the ring on the front of the projector. Sometimes this can be done with a remote on the higher end ones, but that allows you to make the image bigger or smaller on the front of the projector. And then there's usually 2 rings. So you've got that, and then you've got a focus ring. So once you get the image of the size you want, then you use the focus adjustment in order to get that image crystal clear for you. Like we said, 4-corner keystoning is a huge plus. If you're going to be in an environment where you're using this in multiple places, not the same day necessarily, but like every week you're out using it somewhere else, I think you want to look for something that's going to have a lot more adaptation for that location, and having something a tool that is kind of like that Swiss Army knife that works on almost any situation. Then you want to concentrate on the main focus, or the main keys to having a projector that works for any situation if you're a mobile operator. And that would be go for as bright as you can possibly get the highest resolution you can get. 4-corner keystone is a huge perk when it comes to that kind of stuff. And look for other features. For example, like the 515 that I use has something called image stacking. And what image stacking allows you to do is, if you want to take a projector, you can actually take 2 of them, stack them directly on top of each other, and have I don't know what the exact rating would be, but the concept is that you have 11,000 lumen projector. But yet you still have 2 projectors that most weekends you can send out to different events, or use for multiple things. But those events where they need a lot more power, a lot more, bump in the performance, you're able to do that. It goes back to that Swiss Army knife theory of just, it's going to be, if you can use it for more situations, it's going to go out more. You're going to rent it more, and you're going to make your money back a lot faster. Let's see. Okay. And I think that as an example, let me show you guys this as well. We're talking about 4-corner keystoning, and you start to see like this photo here. Notice see the backdrop that's right. Hey, there's Randy. The backdrop that's right behind Randy here in this image, that was actually projected from way over here. From this, you can tell it's about 12 feet off center, and it's only about 10 feet away from the wall. But by doing, having 4-corner keystone, we're able to adjust that to where we're going to get the best possible image. Now, you can look at what the degrees are of what, like, for example, like this one could do is the 515 can do up to 30 degrees vertical and 30 degrees horizontal. I think the most popular bin Q that people use, I'm not sure what the model number is, but I see people using it all the time. And so, but they a lot of them are like 30 degrees vertical and like 25 degrees horizontal. So see what is going to fit you best on that. I got Brandon here from Sound Image Entertainment, who is there anything I need to look for if I want to save money and buy a used projector? Ooh, good question. Yeah, definitely. When it comes to kind of the used projector market, you can usually get them extremely inexpensive, because most of the people who are selling the projectors are going to be kind of looking to upgrade to something new. And these days you can kind of take a look at maybe where it was used. If you've got a church who's getting rid of a projector, then you might realize, is it, is this something that's been used every single day for the past year? That's a lot of use. If it's something that's been, used just on Sundays, you might be able to get a little insight on how often it was used if it was just used on Sundays itself. And that's kind of pretty easy to find out just by talking to the seller. The other thing is you might want to look for like factory refurbished. A lot of factory refurbished projectors are going to have, a great avenue as far as having the warranties. And it's something that they stand by. They look through it. They update they just basically update all the programming in it. Double check, make sure the bulb's still good. And, some of them will even just replace the bulb with a new one. But they usually have a pretty good warranty on that as well. I would definitely look at, look up what they're usually going for. Look on eBay. Don't look at what people are asking, but look at the, what they're selling for. Because every once in a while, we pick up some really, really good deals just by off chance of like putting in a bid on something. And it's like, just got a projector for $200. Like it's not like it's, not necessarily just like the best of that I have, but this is definitely a really great backup. Or if I just wanted to project some images on the wall, some designs, this thing is a rock star for that. So, look on, I think that for used stuff, if you want to get some of the best price, you can go see what people are selling on Amazon or on eBay. For brand new, go with someone you trust. I get all my projector stuff from Ben over at NLFX, and it's no secret. The reason I do this is just because of how much they have the service. The customer service has always been phenomenal, and anytime I have questions, it's ridiculous at how fast I get a response. But it's just has more to do also with how much they've done for the DJ industry. They've always been there for our events and education, and whether it's sponsoring our conferences and being there to sell products. It's just amazing what they've done for the industry. And so that's kind of one of those things. I would rather spend a few extra dollars, and usually, I'm not kidding you, it's usually, if it is, because a lot of times I end up getting a better price than what I get from elsewhere, but we're talking about usually $10 in price difference, and you get to support someone who has supported our industry for so long. And yeah, that's why, look at whether you're buying projectors or lighting or sound or anything look at the companies who are supporting our industry. American DJ, Chave, stuff like that really puts their neck out on the line and wants to be there for us as an industry. All right. And if you do have questions about the difference, I think the two most popular, I was talking to Ben the other day and I go, what are the two most popular projectors you sell? And he says, definitely the 515, the Optima EH515. And I said, what's the second one? And he said the Optima, it's the EH416. And make sure you let him know what the correct item number is, because Optima and every company out there, they all have there's, for example, Optima has EH515, they've got a W515, they've got there's a lot of 515s. So we use the EH515 when it comes to that. Some of the other ones, and just the letters themselves, just have really the big difference is just some of the specs that are available on there. But if you guys do have questions and stuff, take some time, give Katie a call over there, and see what kind of deals. I know that they always have rockstar deals. If you just say, hey, Living Motion Monogram sent me over to you and I need a projector, what do you recommend? they'll be able to kind of walk you through and see what you're going to be using it for. But yeah, give it's nlfxpro.com. Give them a call or check out the website and talk to Katie. Tell Katie I said hi. Now, how to save money? Like I said, you can definitely get into the kind of the used market. You're going to take a little bit of a risk of having to replace bulbs or hoping that it kind of comes in or out. Hopefully it stays alive, and that it was well taken care of. You guys are all probably just like me, and it's like you get a new toy and you put it in a nice soft case and you take good care of it because you want it to last a long time. And some days you sell equipment and you're kind of sad to see it go because it still looks new. You just took that much care of it. Not everybody does that. This from driving rental cars. Never buy a used rental car. Oh, well. It may not be always the case, but what people have done with that. They've driven it hard. So again, guys, you guys just got questions or anything you want to jump in on the chat, say hi. Make sure you ask those questions here. We're going to be finishing things up here coming up, but we'll just kind of continue on here. Let's see here. I know I get a lot of questions on Facebook. People will send me links to, the one thing that's always really hard is they always ask me, it's like, okay, so what's your recommendation on projectors? And I usually try and give a couple different ones. So different price points like and I give the pros and cons of all of them. And then usually 10 minutes later, I'll get an email back. It's like, okay, but I found this one and this one. What do you think of these? It's like, I understand, but keep in mind this, the ones you just showed me are really, really low resolution. They're not very bright, and you're probably gonna not be thrilled with the performance of these. And then 10 minutes later, I get another email with 2 more suggestions, and it's pretty much the same stuff. It's take some time to look at the specs, and I don't constantly repeat myself as far as, hey, go with a native resolution of 1920 by 1080. I don't keep saying that just for fun. I think it's incredibly important. We are in an age of 4K now. And having the more resolution you have, the better. A lot of times we're using these we're using these projectors to create images much, much larger than what they are designed for. And with that, here's an example of using, the projector at an angle. You can see it here, projected on the wall. Now, this particular one is actually the EH501, and we're using our Chaos Grand VJ in order to correct the keystoning on it, because the EH501 only has horizontal keystoning. And so that is one of those kind of situations where it still has a lot of power, and it just didn't have that capability of, this is a static monogram. If I could just simply put an image in there, it would have been really, really nice as well. All right. And now having something that is, I want to say is universal enough so that you can easily, use it for all kinds of situations, it comes into play. I did an event this weekend where they didn't do a monogram, they didn't do video, they didn't do anything that had to do with projection. But then I presented them with an idea of doing the shadow entrance, something I came up with a long time ago at their event. Now, with the shadow entrance, I suggested, why don't we do something really, really cool and have not just white light behind you guys, but let's have a little bit more fun. And I'm going to show you guys a video here. Let's see if I can get this centered and queued up. All right, I'm gonna bring this full screen here. Now, I'm hoping you guys can hear the audio on this thing, because again, we had to rush to get everything situated, but let's give it a shot. Let me know if you guys can hear the audio on this, but this was taking, hey, we weren't going to use the projector for anything else, and I was able to get a $250 projector rental out of doing one little thing in an event that the clients absolutely loved. And it is something where if I was just using, you know, a basic projector, I probably wouldn't have been able to do this, because it just wouldn't, the range, you know, the throw distance and stuff wouldn't be, I'd need a lot more distance on, or it wouldn't be bright enough to do this, but instead I turned it into income. See? Did you like the little hearts? And then from there, the curtains closed. We went right into the welcome for the night. And so that, again, was just one weekend that, you know, we were able to recoup some of our investment on even better projector, and because it was able to, you know, it was able to supply an incredible image, and the versatility of having something that can do the job itself without the limitations. It just widens the range of what we can use it for. So it definitely pays for itself of maybe just waiting a little bit longer and getting that next model up. It's, you know, and having something that's more versatile for what you want to use it for. So hope you guys, if you guys have any questions, make sure you take a moment, hit that like button down there. We're going to be doing obviously videos every week, and adding on more tutorials as well. So hit the subscribe button, and if you want to get noticed, turn that little bell blue. That way it will notify you when a new video gets uploaded. Yeah, if you guys have any questions, go ahead and leave some comments in the comment section there, and I hope to see you guys on the next one. Hey, take a moment also, go to Living Motion Monograms, find our Facebook group. A lot of great tips and tricks on there, and it's a great community. Take some time and sign up. We'll get you approved and get you access into the group itself. We'd love to have you there. And also livingmotionmonograms.com for more information as well. Thank you guys again so much. I'm Mike from Creative Memories Entertainment, Living Motion Monograms, and the 1% Solution. We are going to see you guys on the next one. Take care.